Hello and welcome to another episode of Grot and Guardsman. Today is our feature episode on the new Admech codex.
Yes, we would normally say our 40k podcast on everything 40k, but we are not doing anything other than AdMech today because there is a buttload of stuff on it.
Absolutely. We have pretty much the full new codex release, or at least,
Well, a lot of spoilers for it. It's not been released yet because I guess they bugged up something in production, but
there's been a lot of delays on that, so at least we get a whole variety of the new rules.
yes, a lot of spoilers. Whilst writing down notes, I hurt my hand. There's that many. It's ridiculous.
So many things to share with you from the variety of articles that have been sent our way.
Anyway,
So,
as we should have said earlier, I am the Guardsman, and this is obviously the Grot. This is what we look like for all 12 of you watching.
Yeah, as you may have noticed, this is our first video episode.
Yeah.
Now that we can finally meet up in the UK, we've been able to start recording in person.
Yes, so hopefully there'll be less breaks. There won't be crap audio. Well, I mean, until we get a good mic, it'll be kind of audio, but we won't be breaking up or anything like that. So
yeah, so it's nice to finally be here. And if you're joining us on YouTube now, instead of other podcast places, all our episodes and content will be available on YouTube for you to watch as well.
yes. Right. So without further ado, shall we crack on with the new AdMech rules? Right. So we'll start off with some of the more generic army rules, and we'll kick off with things called canticles. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what they are? Because
Yeah, if you're familiar with the Canticles of the Messiah, this is a rule that in the previous rules, at the start of a battle round, you would choose one from the list of the Canticles, and then that effect would apply to your army until the next battle round. And you could choose it, or if you wanted one you've already chosen, you can randomize it. So you hope to get the same one twice in that manner. And we believe they're mostly going to work in the same way, but there's only certain units now that you get the Canticles on.
yes, so like you don't get it on things like Skitari or other core units. You just get it on servitors and tech priests have been spoiled.
The ones we've been told are tech priests and servitors, which
means Caradron, not Caradron,
Cataphron.
Cataphron.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Cataphron. Caradron's be awesome in this game. But
Cataphron do seem to be a bit of a rising star at the moment in these new rules.
yes,
They've got a lot of things that will help them out.
Yeah,
So I was expecting Skitari to get the Canticles. It was a real surprise when they didn't.
that would make sense.
That was like, wow.
Yeah, but there is a caveat to that, but we'll get to that when we talk about the various Forge Worlds. Right, so kicking off with the Benediction of the Omnissiah. So that is whilst shooting. So yeah, just whilst shooting, unfortunately.
No melee thrust yet.
Yeah, unfortunately not, because AdMech is a very melee focused army, isn't it?
I wish.
Sorry, you've got orcs to satisfy your bloodlust. Right, so
Yes.
whilst shooting, you get 1 hit reroll, 1 wound reroll, and 1 damage reroll. I believe that's per unit.
Yeah.
So it is what it says. Whilst you're shooting at something with each unit, you get to reroll 1 of every roll, pretty much.
These Canticles do seem very strong. They're a lot across the board. I reckon they're more useful than the previous ones. Before there was maybe 1 or 2 that everyone would take a lot, and then a lot that just didn't really see use.
Yeah, I think with 9th there's been a lot more emphasis on like variety. So a lot of the stratagems are more useful. A lot of everything. It's just more. There's more variety you can choose from.
And in this case, pretty much every unit for AdMech is shooty. At least in some variety, and rerolls across the board is going to really help that unit. So
yeah. Even though it is just 1 of each, within any unit of anything, you're going to have at least 1 weapon that's going to be worth re-rolling.
But bearing in mind that this is on, say, a tech priest. So if he's got, say, like some kind of las cannon or strong weapon equivalent that doesn't have loads of output, he's probably not going to need many rerolls.
Yeah, I keep just imagining this being used on Skitari, and so you're going to have that 1 special weapon. But
it's
apart from that 1 caveat, which we're not going to mention yet. You're not going to be using it on Skitari or anything like that. You're just going to be using it on heavy hitters.
Yeah. So let's move on. What's our next canticle?
Next one is the Chant of the Remorseless Fist.
Yes, it's a returning canticle.
Yeah.
We had this one before.
Mm-hmm. It's a pretty basic one. It's just +1 strength in melee.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
That's more to my liking.
Yeah, that's your style. And then the final one that we've had spoiled is the Invocation of Machine Vengeance. These are awesome. Just the,
That sounds great.
I don't care about what these do, just the names. It's fantastic. So this one is a 1 additional advanced dice, and then you discard the lowest. So when you advance, you roll 3 dice?
2. It normally one dice to advance.
Oh, of course, yeah. I was thinking of charges, yep. Yeah, so you roll 2 advanced dice and just pick the highest.
It's important because a lot of the time you are relying on an advanced roll to reach an objective.
Yes.
If you want to get people on that objective, and every inch matters in terms of how many people you can get on that objective.
Yes. Yeah.
Every inch matters, guys.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be a bit of an interesting one because for things like taking objectives, you're not necessarily going to want to put tech priests or servitors on the front line, but
it is a bit of an interesting one. You obviously don't necessarily want your characters leading from the front, but in cases where you are trying to take an objective or trying to do a runner,
yeah, I think running away is a very good thing for that.
Well, repositioning.
Yeah,
We don't run away.
Tactically withdrawing.
Yeah.
French's favourite battle tactic. Right, we'll move on before we.
Thankfully, I don't think we have many French listeners. But...
we'll have maybe one. Right, so now we're moving on to the Doctrina Imperatives.
Yeah.
So
let's take this one.
Yeah, if you take this one, try and read my thing.
Yeah, fine. So, the Doctrina Imperatives are a new army-wide buff that you're getting on your epic forces.
Yep.
Because obviously now your canticles are now not army-wide; they're only on specific things. And I believe these are again only on core. Or not specifically core, but core-ish things. Core-ish things. We've got the examples of Scutari and the Striders. The chicken walkers.
Chicken walkers.
I think all the varieties, which is why I don't want to specify one. But so there's and maybe some of the infiltrators or rough stalkers and things. So most of the infantry, maybe a few specialist lead things, but so it's not quite core, but it's not everything.
Yes. Okay.
So we've got 2 of the 4. We're told there are 4 of these, I believe, and you get to pick one at the start of each battle round. So I like the fact that you can do this on the fly. It's a tactical decision you can make each battle round as to what you want to do.
Yeah, you can see what your situation is and then pick accordingly, which is just rewording what he's just said, really. Just rewording.
All right, yes. So, and also these, the one thing I like about these is every single one has a good thing about it and a bad thing about it.
Yes.
So you take something that benefits you, but you've got to watch out for the negative biting you in the arse somewhere.
Yeah, so you have to think very carefully about what you're going to do with
But these are strong.
Oh, yeah, they are strong.
So the first one, the Bulwark Imperative, is +1 to your saves.
That's just good.
Just +1 to your saves, which is amazing.
Yeah. Suddenly you've got Scutari on, what, 3 up?
3 up Scutari.
You've got Space Marine level Scutari. That's silly.
Downside to this is you've got a -3 to your move.
Okay, so it's basically like you're hunkering down and...
Yeah, Bulwark. You're a bulwark. You're making an iron bulwark, your defense network, so to speak.
Yep.
You're getting everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you need to hold an objective, it's going to be really good.
Awful if you're trying to move up to that objective, but if you're either staying back or staying forwards.
So that could be... No.
The -3 is a big deal to your move. -3 is halving your movement normally if you're not advancing.
Yeah, so... it is. I'm just trying to think. If you wanted to... No, you just want to move quickly. I'm thinking too...
Yeah.
I'm thinking too, like... Because this is individual turn-based, you'll move and then you'll do all your stuff. I'm thinking as if it's like you move one unit and do that stuff and then another one shoots.
So turn 1 when you're trying to move, you obviously don't use this one. But turn 2, if you've made it there, or turn 3, once you've made it there, then you bust this out and then your stuff is +1 to it. So it's great stuff. Obviously, caps at 2 up, but as always.
That's just with everything, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because 1 up would just be silly.
The other one that we're given is the Protector Imperative, and that is +1 to ballistic skill. That's the good thing, and -1 to weapon skill, which seems very powerful.
That works very nicely for
so regularly going to be used, I believe, constantly.
Well, particularly if you go for one of the Forge Worlds that's less melee focused, you're just gonna. Yeah.
I mean, in honesty, most Adeptus Mechanicus stuff sees a bit less melee, I'd say.
Yeah, there are a few choices, but it's more of a range-based army.
The army in general for Admech is obviously quite mostly ranged, and then you've got a few specific units that will move into melee if you need them to.
Yeah, it seems most of it is going to be kind of mid-range firefight.
Yeah. So long as there's not one of your core or Doctrina imperative units that you really want in melee, and it's a big deal. Because if it's like a unit of Scutari that are dead anyway, which will often be the case, I'm fine with giving them -1 weapon skill. If I haven't armed them for combat, I don't really care if that gets worse.
Yeah, I mean, if they're going to die anyway, it's...
Or, if they're not armed for combat, which a lot of people don't arm the Scutari for combat, then they're not going to do much damage anyway, so I don't care. In which case, +1 ballistic skill is huge, right?
Oh, yeah.
This will see really regular use.
Yes, absolutely.
So, we don't know the other two. We'll have to wait until the codex comes out.
Or maybe they'll spoil it, but probably wait until the codex comes out. I don't know if
it's up for pre-order. It's up for pre-order.
Oh, good.
So,
okay. So maybe presumably quite quickly.
Yeah, soon. Yeah, a couple of weeks or whatever it'll be released.
Right, shall I take the...
Yeah,
So, moving on, we have...
There's a new edition that's really big.
Oh,
now,
yes.
all tech priests, you can choose which school or school of study your tech priest is going to come from.
Yeah, so... I think the best way to describe it is just to go through it. So, the specialisms you can give them are genitals, which... I can't say that without smirking, if I'm honest. What would you call it that? Then you've got the logi, the magi, and the artisans. So, yeah, as we said, all of the different schools of tech priestery.
And these are different amounts of points, from 25 to 35 extra points.
Yeah, so a bit like with, say, I don't know, just as an example, Space Marines, when you take like an apothecary, you can choose to pay a certain number of points to make him a better apothecary. A little bit like that, you can choose to pay a certain number of points, which we'll go through in a moment.
I really like the addition to the fluff this is, because now you can choose, my tech priest has been studying this specific thing for ages and has these buffs to go with it.
Yeah, it's a really nice fluffy edition.
It's a really good fluffy edition.
Yeah,
tech priest.
Well done.
Variety in tech priest.
Yeah.
It's great.
So the genitals.
I mean, the names could be a lot better, let's be honest.
Yeah.
I think, especially given that...
they had a load in the lore anyway, like biologists and...
Yeah, you could be a biologist, you could be a Lex Mechanic, you could be like a data smith, or you could be a Xenorite text priest, so you could be that's... Even like make one a Secutor or something, or, like there are choices. You can take them from the Adeptus Mechanicus video game things. Like in the lore, there are ranks and schools of tech priests already that they seem to have just sort of
made a few up. Which
stop me if I'm wrong about this, if I'm just not read enough about the AdMech. But
which is
it seems a little bit suboptimal.
Yeah, it's a bit odd, but there we go. It's what we've got. So right, the genitals is going to be 25 points on top of your tech priest or another power level. The logi is another 35 points or 2 power level. The magi is 30 points or 2 power level, and the artisan is 25 points or 1 power.
Unfortunately, this doesn't really mean anything because we only have one example where we know the stuff.
We kind of have 1.5.
Yeah, we got those.
All right, so we'll move on to this. So the
if you're a major,
the Holy Order,
Magos.
So the Holy Order, it gives you basically 2.5 abilities. It's a strange one. So you get 1 standing ability.
I'd say you get an active ability on the tech priest and a passive ability.
Okay.
For each of those 4 classes. But in the case of the active ability, it's a progressive ability. So at a point in the game, you choose for it to move on.
Yes. Yeah, so I think the best thing we can compare it to is possibly the Space Marine...
Space Marine Doctrines.
Doctrines, that's the one.
You choose when you move on to...
to the next one.
Assault Doctrine.
It's a little bit different because you're forced to eventually in the Space Marine ones, but...
In this case, you pick... If you like the starting ability, you just keep it up.
Yeah, it's like the old school tactical doctrines.
Yeah.
Where you could literally... Oh, brilliant. with
Stay in
Devastator doctrine. Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
Right, so the Magi abilities. So the first ability is once per battle, you can save 1 command point on an epic deed stratagem. That's okay.
So your passive is at some point you basically just save a CP.
Yeah, it's fine if you've got some good
We're going
deeds.
to point out that I don't think there's anything against you taking multiple tech priests and things. So it's not phenomenal, but it's not the only ability. And
you can say
how many points is a CP worth? Arguably, include a few cheap tech priests for extra CP.
I was going to say, and
it's not the end of the world, is it?
And as I believe that if you wanted to, you could take several tech priests and have, say, 1 of each Holy Order they're called on here, and so you could get kind of the benefit of all of these if you wanted.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, these things I believe sort of stack, so to speak, is a weird way to put it. You can take multiple.
So we've done that.
And the active ability for Magos.
Yep. So the initial ability that you start with is within 6 inches of the Magi. You get a +2 to your advance, so you can run fast.
Everyone run fast. If you're playing the type of, or even if it's your full army, but if you've got an infantry unit nearby this Magos who you want to just make them go faster constantly,
yep.
Run for this objective, run for that objective.
Yep. So you basically get some very, very motivated Skitari or whatever, really. It doesn't specify what unit you use this on.
Yeah, a nearby unit. So, or even if you're if you've got a load of, like a strong line, and then this guy keeps telling that unit to run off the objective, that unit can run off, and then different units you're making go all over the place.
Yeah. So that's quite nice. And then
it's a nice little ability.
And then if you want to, you can advance that onto within 6 inches of the Magi. Whenever you shoot something, you roll a 6. I think it's to hit. I should have checked that. I haven't written it down, but
sorry, what's this?
Exploding 6s.
Oh yes.
So when you're shooting, I believe it's when you hit when you roll a 6, you
hitting on a 6
count as
causes 2 wounds. Or two wound rolls.
What he said, yeah.
An extra hit each time you roll a 6.
Yeah.
So basically you've got, even if you're taking one unit you want to run them with, then turn 1 you have the text priest jog up with them, the extra 2.
Yep.
And then turn 2 you give them extra firepower.
Yeah. So this could be really nice.
Once you move it on, you have to stay in that second one. There's no going back to the original ability.
Yes. To be honest, it is quite a nice ability anyway. But...
And I think the article hinted at the fact that the tech priest has to make an action to move on. So I think they've deliberately made it so the second one's stronger because you have to spend a turn with the tech priest advancing his orders.
Yes, he has to kind of almost calculate what he's going to do next, I guess.
So if you've got like a really strong fighty tech priest character, like a warlord who you want to shoot, or then it's a bit of a downside because if you have to do an action, then you're not.
And these are definitely more support-based units. You don't want to be doing this on something that's going to.
If it's a piddly little engine seer who's standing by your tank and only has a last pistol anyway, then you just
you might as well.
He's actioning because he wouldn't do anything anyway.
Yeah, and to be honest, if you can put this on any unit, doing that on say something with a large gun. It happens to roll a 6. It's like you like hit something with a las cannon, happens to roll a 6, and you just double las cannon it.
I think if you, in this case, this one, it makes sense almost to me to turn 1, you're not going to be in range anyway, or sometimes at least most of the time you won't. So you just run them up, and then when you're not in range that first turn, you can do the action, and then turn 2 onwards, you've already moved up with the advance. It works really nicely. You shoot here.
Yeah,
good stuff.
Right, and then the second one we only have the progressive ability on the artisans.
So we only have the active.
Yeah, so we don't have the passive one yet, unfortunately. But that will come with the codex. Well, if it doesn't come with the codex, I'll be a little bit disappointed, to be honest.
The whole point of the codex is it doesn't come with it, guys.
Yeah, here's half of the codex, and you have to pay another 50 quid for this half.
Don't give them ideas. They'll do it.
BW partnering with EA.
Oh god.
Right. Okay. So the initial part of this. So for core and Cataphron units, you can fall back and charge or shoot for -1 to hit. So it's both in melee and shooting.
So pick a So you basically pick a unit that's fallen back, and they can fight or shoot. Which in the case of like Cataphrons, which are now going to be buffed all over the place, going to be really strong.
Oh yeah.
Then you can just pick your Cataphron who's fallen back,
pull them back, and then steamroll again.
When they unfortunately, get you. When they tag your Cataphron, and you're like, damn it, then you can just pull them back.
Yeah.
Shoot anyway.
Again, you do get that -1 to hit, but it's
fall
better
back
than
and shoot is it's obviously -1 is not ideal, but it's so much better than not shooting. So really good ability. Everyone likes being able to fall back and shoot.
Yes.
And what's the progressive ability?
Just give me a. Still recording. Sorry, something popped up over the recording button and I wanted to check. Right, so, and then the second ability or the advanced ability is +1 to shooting strength. Which is very nice.
The arguably even better part of this.
You have
+1 to strength. I do have an issue with this, I mentioned when we first read this that, unfortunately, in my opinion, the bits of this seem the wrong way round. The natural order of this ability, if it's progressive, is going to be that your +1 strength at the beginning of the game, when there's no enemies around, you're going to want to say in your Cataphrons, you're going to want your tech priest to give them the plus strength, like more shooting, firepower, shoot at the enemy, and then once the enemy tag you, then you can fall back and shoot. You want the earlier bit.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, this way round is the wrong way round to do that, because you get to fall back when the enemy are miles away at the beginning, and then once they close in, you've sort of moved on to get plus strength. And it's like, oh, now I can't use my fallback and shoot.
Yeah, the only explanation I can think of for this is if you've lost objectives or if you need to claim an objective, you can shoot the enemy off it.
I honestly think this is
the only thing I can think of that's going to be useful for this.
I honestly think this one is going to be a case of you either progress it turn 1 because your plan for the unit is going to be sit there and shoot all game.
Yep.
Or your plan is to keep him there for you put him with the unit that's going to get charged. You keep him up with them. You keep doing that so that when they get charged, they're fine.
And assuming you can take 2 of these with the same.
I see no reason you
school holy order.
I believe you can the same.
You could progress one and keep the other one on the other. So you can make it work.
It's not something where you usually want to like advance it with a set plan. You might, even if you're trying to keep it, you might decide at the end, oh, I want some last firepower on final turn because there's no threats left, sure. But it's not going to be a reliable thing of, oh, I usually advance this guy's protocols on turn this. Like, it's a bit of it's kind of the wrong way round. I wish you started with the shooting.
That would be better.
Arguably, it's too powerful because the whole point is you never get it turn 1. You have to do the action turn 1, so the best you can get is plus strength on turn 2. So maybe it's just a power limiting thing to stop you from being too strong.
Yeah. Right, well, that's all of those.
So yeah, tech priests.
Tech priests are good now.
Tech priests get those canticles, and they get these abilities.
Yeah.
And you don't have to take these things.
Oh no, these are all optional. But I personally.
I think they will result in being fairly expensive characters because even if a tech priest was say like 50 points,
that's going to
nice
bump up to at least 75.
They're at least 75ish. So you can't spam these like crazy, but you could definitely take a few.
Yeah, it's like a couple. It's a bit like I suppose guard commanders. You take a few of them. To just spread the orders around.
Guard commanders are real cheap though.
Well, that is true.
They're in the realms of about 30 points.
Oh yeah.
20 points for a platoon commander or something. It was at 1 point.
Oh, they're insane.
Yeah,
anyway, before we go off topic, because we have a habit of doing that, we're going to move on to the Forge Worlds. So
there's a lot of changes to the Forge Worlds, and obviously that would be the big rule that affects your whole army, and you can stylize your playstyle based around these in most cases.
Yeah, so for those of you that don't know, it's akin to picking a Space Marine chapter or a Guard regiment or
clan.
Like I could say warband, but clan,
yeah.
Or Chaos, whatever Chaos. They have warbands.
Chaos Legions or that,
yeah, whatever. Basically, you just pick it and it does things. Right, so we'll kick off with Mars, the OG Forge World. So yeah, why don't you go through a little bit of that? If you can read.
Yeah, I'll still. We'd be definitely.
There's a lot of Forge Worlds. They're picking 7 or something like that.
Yeah, it's definitely better that we try to just instead of trying to remember things, it's better we give the correct information. So it's better to have some notes. Anyway, so Mars. So we, generally speaking, for these, we have been given the general trait, a stratagem, and a relic, but not in all cases. There was,
pretty sure that is.
for example, for Lucius, immediately we don't get the. There's not. No. So they didn't give us everything again, but we'll share what we have.
I'm pretty sure Lucius had a relic.
No, I didn't.
Okay,
so I commented on it.
Yeah, all right.
Anyway,
we'll carry on. Sorry.
So with Mars, you get there's 2 effects for their general army, and first one is that Skitarii gain the canticles, which is something we've.
Yeah, that's what we were referencing earlier with the whole.
And
caveat.
This, I assume, this is like Vanguard and Rangers and
anything Skitarii,
infiltrators and Ruststalkers and the. Like Skitarii, the flying ones.
I'm assuming it's
not what they're called.
I think it's anything with the Skitarii keyword
so
gets canticles now.
And some of it is like a Doom Crawlers. I forget if it's got the Skitarii keyword. Doom Crawlers, because there's Skitarii manning it, or a Scorpius.
I don't know enough.
I'll have to go and double check which ones have the Skitarii keyword on the vehicles. Some of them are Skitarii.
Yeah, anything with the anything with the Skitarii keyword is now going to get canticles.
And as we said, canticles are a big deal.
Yeah,
super
really
useful.
Really rather nice.
The second bit is that you can re-roll 1 to hit roll with the unit.
Yeah, that's either shooting or fighting. It's all right.
That's not amazing. I would have liked it to be 1 re-roll of anything or 1 of each again, but at the end of the day, it's on top of the getting all the canticles. So
yeah, and a lot of the AdMech weapons, once you hit, they're going to be doing something. So that is the important one.
The canticle's a big deal. So it's something in addition to that.
Yeah.
Which is something that you will use.
Yeah, you will use it
There's
Well, every time you shoot, you're fine.
very rarely. It doesn't even mean like one unit in your army that you don't intend to fight. So if you're fighting, you use this. It's good.
Yeah, it's decent.
Your stratagem is the Wrath of Mars, and it's 1 CP or 2 CP depending on if the unit that you choose is
I think it was
11
or
power
more.
level, which is roughly 200 points.
Yeah, so 11 or more power level, it goes up to 2 CP, but anything else.
But it's calculated on power level, not points. Yeah. And when you fire with the unit, it's I think it's the same as what the stratagem used to be. It's 6s to hit, cause mortal wounds.
Yes, that's the
with
one.
any gun.
Is that just 6s? Yes.
Yeah. And the classic thing to do with this was to take your Castellan robots, do their 60, 56 or something shots. You end up with 54.
Yeah.
Sorry, 18 apiece, right? So yeah, and then
Just
on 54
more
dice,
wounds.
you get on average like 9 or 10 sixes.
Yeah.
Which is 9 or 10 mortal wounds in addition to all the damage your guns would normally do.
Yeah, I mean, you are going to lose maybe 1 or 2 to the.
And that's not
you're gonna
3
lose
Castellans.
You're going to be losing a few shots to like missing. I guess
That was
this is the wound roll. It's not a hit roll. It's the wound roll.
Okay, yes. So to wound, but still, it's a lot of dice.
You're still going to be hitting.
And you're pretty accurate with
Yeah.
this. So at the end of the day, you do a lot. And I think it's changed to be a bit weaker than it was before. And obviously, yeah, slightly. It's not as horrible as it was.
Okay, I'll take your word for it.
2CP and things. But it's still got a lot of potential use. Anywhere where you can get a lot of shots, it doesn't necessarily need to be super powerful. You could even put it on a unit of Vanguard, say.
Yep.
10 Vanguards, all firing their radiant carbines, 30 shots. How many are you going to hit with? 20 of them? If you're on 3s?
Yeah, most of them.
So 20 shots, how many sixes? That's
Maybe
3,
yeah.
3, possibly 4 on average.
So mortal wounds, that's.
3 mortal wounds, you've just killed a custode.
You killed a custode, you've killed a minor Space Marine character, you've killed.
I think characters have 3 normally. I think it's 4 minimum, maybe.
Well, you said 4. You said 3 or 4. You might.
So, yeah, true. 3 or 4. Yeah, you might. You could just straight up kill a character.
Yeah. Yeah, that's going to be quite punishing.
It's going to be really good, especially for those radiant type weapons that aren't great at piercing armor.
Yeah.
Those mortals just no armor. You're gone.
Yeah. That's going to be nasty.
Right. And finally, there's our relic, which is the red axe, and it's a big meaty Omniscient axe, which is +2 strength, -5 AP, 2 damage, and gives the bearer 3 additional attacks. Which it's a really great melee weapon. It's kind of equivalent to the Teeth Terror or a few others for other armies. It's really strong. It's going to make that Tech Priest really nice and fighty.
It is. It's
+3 attacks is.
Yeah, it's a bit weird on an army that's going to be mostly focused on shooting. I suppose Mars you can do quite a lot with Mars. It's quite versatile.
Mars is quite versatile. For instance, the canticles that you get, you can pick the melee canticles. So that one can work with melee if you want to pick melee relic. Obviously, the shooting mortals, that's CP, but it's only one stratagem. You can just use the CPs on other things.
Yeah.
I'm sure there will be some general melee helpful stratagems and things.
Yep.
So.
And then the reroll, you can do that one reroll on a fight. On a melee hit anyway, so
you can take
that works for both. So yeah, actually I'll take that back. That is just a flat out good.
It can be,
good relic.
In general, I get what you're saying. In general, Admech aren't a fighting army. You do want your relic to maybe be a shooting weapon, but it's cool. We've got a beautiful axe, which I like. So I'll let you read out Lucius's rules.
All right,
and then we'll discuss them.
Okay. So on Lucius, you get the Solar Blessings. So that is +1. You get a +1 armor save to damage 1 weapons. Be really nice against general infantry and.
So generally speaking, because it's so good for your infantry. There's not really going to matter on your vehicles, but
it'll just give you a massive durability buff to all.
Who wants 3 of Scutari? Who wants Space Marine Scutari? Basically. It's something like if I want to run like 6 squads of Scutari, like just loads of Vanguard, loads of Rangers providing fire support to take these objectives, which are now important. I know lots of things can be objective takers for Admech, but this is just going to be a big deal, isn't it?
It is going to be a massive
and this will
deal.
apply to them too. A lot of those things.
Yeah.
Damage 1 weapons, just getting the 3-up save.
Yes, that is virtually all of the basic infantry weapons in the game.
1 damage.
I mean, bolters, las guns,
it's nice.
shooters, any of that.
So I mean, it was. I think Thousand Suns had this, and it was really strong. And
yeah,
the picture of people who got upset in the end when they sort of moved and still had one wound, and then that was what stopped.
Oh,
because
yeah,
they were One with Space Marines were like
which probably will change if we're honest, but
in the case of like Skitarii, cheapest ship's 9-point model getting that 3-up save. It's like, oh yeah,
nah, I don't like it.
So that is a strong rule.
Yep. And then the next part of Solar Blessing, you get +3 inches to your ranged weapons,
which is nice, and
it's going to be very good at like short range weapons. Like I think you mentioned when we were discussing it earlier, flamers are going to be very
good. I saw 2 really good uses for this extra range, and the first one is when now you've got strategic reserves, really easy access, and combo with something else I forgot to mention, but you get easy access to sort of dropping things on the enemy, which obviously is always limited by the 9-inch drop.
Yeah.
And in the case of a lot of like flamers and things, or close range weapons, they're not necessarily range. I'm struggling to think of examples where Skitarii are using flamers, admittedly, but I'm sure there are some examples somewhere where maybe there's something you want to drop with a flamer, and then adding 3 inches on D8 puts you over 9, which you'll need in order to shoot the thing.
Yeah. So
and it gives you a little bit of wriggle room when deploying that unit in Deep Strike.
Yes.
So the other use I was thinking is obviously, generally speaking, you're not going to be a melee army. You don't want to be charged.
Yeah.
And if you move up into rapid fire, so you're at 12, then you're going to be. Then in the opponent's turn, they move 6 and they've got 6-inch charge on you.
They're probably going to make that.
They'll make it. Yeah. Adding 3 onto that, if you're 15 away, for instance, if you're firing a pistol or something, I know the rapid fire might not necessarily go up that much, but then. So if they're 15 away, they move, and then they're 9 away for a charge, which puts them above the average charge roll on 2d6.
I was going to say, you're probably not going to make that, and most opponents are going to know that unless they want to spend CP on rerolls or they have other buffs.
It's the ability to just stay. And it's not. A lot of people think, it's not going to put me in range when I wasn't. It's only 3 inches, which is true a lot of the time. It's not going to change your range that bad, but just the ability to stay slightly further off is a big deal.
It is always nice.
Especially in this game where you're trying to delicately weave between enemy units, get to the point without getting hit in melee.
Yeah.
So you just that gives you a little bit more real room there. So that's the second place where it'll be handy.
Yep. Moving on to the Legio Teleportarium stratagem. So it's a 1 CP, and you can put 1 non-vehicle unit in Deep Strike.
And at Strike Force size, so 2,000. So once at 1,000 points. Normal 2,000 points, you can do it twice.
Yes.
So you can pay 1 CP for each of 2 units you want to put as infantry in Deep Strike. And then if you're playing like Apocalypse or Onslaught or whatever,
3,000 points or more, you get 3.
Yeah. So big games, you get to do it 3 times. Which, like I said, combos, if you're trying to drop something that's like a super short range weapon or ability, anything that's super short range.
Yeah, you can get up into that nice close range, firefight range.
So it is only range weapons, but
yeah.
If you're trying to drop like a Crusade Relic or something, or a grenade that can't quite reach it, or there you go.
Yeah. Right. What have we got next?
Our next Legion.
Agrippina.
Next Forge World.
Yes, next Forge World. I will go over this because I used some strange abbreviations. So I'll read this one out.
Agrippina.
So, Agrippina. Agrippina. Let us know how to pronounce that because we haven't got Scooby how to pronounce that.
I think it's Agrippina. Or Agrippina. I'm going to go with Agrippina.
It begins with A, it's that one. Right, so we start off with Staunch Defenders, which is their normal faction rule. So when they're shooting at something within half range, they get +1 armor pen. That's quite nice.
That is nice.
That's very nice.
I keep talking about where you move up to shoot the enemy.
Yeah.
In their face kind of thing. That's what you want to be doing with a lot of your core units, so that'll be handy.
I mean, this is going to be ridiculously good for rapid. It's going to make getting within rapid fire range very good because not only do you double your shots, you get more armor pen.
Or a really common thing to do is scream, use the Skitarii, the enemy come in, hit the Skitarii, kill them off, or you retreat with them, and then your other unit behind them is now in beautiful half rapid fire range to get that.
Yeah, you just obliterate them.
Yeah. So this Agrippina are going to be very good at trades. If an enemy wants to trade, take something from you, then you can just take it back, take that trade.
Yep. And the second part of this is if they're not in engagement, they can decide to hold steady or set to defend, which is the defensive ability.
Yeah, cows being defensible terrain all the time.
Yep. So just to quickly go over that. So hold steady is plus. What
Plus
is
1
it?
to Overwatch.
That's the one.
So-
You got Overwatch.
Or
5 up.
Overwatch on a 5 up tender. You're never allowed modifiers, so you just get 5 up Overwatch.
Yep, which is it's all right.
Yeah.
I mean, Overwatch isn't particularly strong at the moment.
Overwatch is pretty weak. There's a couple of instances where, like, flame weapons, for instance, on Castellans or something,
Yeah, they're always good.
they auto hit, so you want it.
Yeah.
Or where you've got loads of shots.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe there's a few scenarios where Overwatch is still useful. So more likely you're going to want the +1 to hit in melee.
Yep, which is the set to defend. As I say, +1 to hit in melee if you get charged.
Like we keep saying, you're often, especially with these guys who want to move in half range. Yeah, that was.
Half range +1.
Yeah, it was these guys.
Yeah.
So these guys want to get in half range and shoot really hard. They're then going to be charged because, like I said, you move up to 12. The enemy should, on average, charge you.
Yes.
So if you choose to move in rapid fire range with people, you get charged as the short answer to existence. But these guys are then like being charged in a way because they get that buff to their attacks in melee.
Yeah.
Or Overwatch.
Yeah.
So they're alright, they don't like being charged, that was a bit of a statement, but they're more prepared for it. You get the preparations, you get the defensive position. So it combos nicely with having them move up. So the two rules work well together.
Okay, moving on to the stratagem. They get Indentured Machine for 1 CP. So with this one, you choose 1 Cataphren unit at the start of the game, I believe, and it gets +1 toughness for the rest of the game.
Yeah, and again, this is a scaling thing, so that's 1,000 points. 2,000 you can do 2, 3,000 you can do 3. So pick 1 or several Cataphren units.
Yep.
We keep saying Cataphrons.
Yeah.
Rising Star.
Oh, yeah.
Get some Cataphrons.
Yeah, either.
I don't only. I'm not gonna lie. I'm tempted.
I
I am tempted.
they are
I didn't want to, but now I'm looking at them. I'm like, oh, they are actually
What do you
cool.
not like about
Well, they were. I was originally going for like just a Skitarii force,
them? Yeah.
and they're not. They are servitors, right? So, but I also really want melee, and they. So I'm thinking like maybe some Cataphren breaches. Melee
the
version.
siege drills.
Yeah. I didn't want to like just sit back and shoot army, but this doesn't have to do that. They can go with the melee options. So
You can punch things with. Yeah.
I'm very tempted.
Yeah. Right, so they have a relic, which is the Eye of. XIZ or Chi? I'm going to go with Z. The Eye of
Tech priest.
Z.
Ancient tech priest.
Z Lexon.
It's his servo skull, right?
It's a
glorified
bloke.
servo
It's
skull.
a bloke skull. Yeah. So what you do is So the guy with this relic, you select 1 enemy vehicle within 18 inches, and then once you've selected it, a core or Cataphren unit within 6 inches of the relic holder can re-roll wound rolls against the chosen vehicle. So it's really good for taking out a specific vehicle, basically.
So yeah, it's a lot to take in, but basically, if I have a service goal, any character, I would say shoot that thing, and the nearby unit is then re-rolling wounds to shoot that thing.
Yeah.
So it's super good if you're going for instance, arc weapons. We've seen have had a buff now. Arc weapons are flat 3 damage against vehicles, and you've got a decent output. So if you have 3 arc weapons in that Skitarii Vanguard unit, for instance, and you want to do it with them, then you're making 6 arc shots, maybe 7th, 1 from the pistol and the sergeant or something.
Yep.
You're only strength 6, so you're wounding a vehicle on 4s or 5s, realistically. So the reroll is going to be really handy there.
Yeah.
That'll help a lot on a lot of shots. And then maybe you're also doing some like radiant stuff, which will need the rerolls.
Yeah, I mean, that would just
Rad weapons.
like damage, but it still be
But in the case of the arc weapons,
very good.
you've now got a bit better minus, like -2 or something, and flat 3 damage against vehicles. So it was always the wound. They'll hit fine.
Yep.
They'll get through a save. They'll do damage. You just need to wound a vehicle with strength 6.
So that is going to shred light vehicles, basically. So really going to hurt light vehicles.
Combo with arc stuff. Let us know what other combos you find that you'd like to reroll wounds with this guy with.
Yes. I'll let you do the next Forge World, which we
Orion.
are on
Brian?
the classic Space Marine
Yeah.
Forge World.
Yeah. Luke proved me wrong when I thought it was not Graia that was in the Space Marine classic game.
Yeah, the 2012 game Space Marine.
It's Forge World Graia.
Yeah.
So I love that.
Yeah.
It's cool. We can fight to defend Graia from the orcs.
I don't know which came first, Space Marine or Graia, but
Yeah.
it's here.
So, Forge World Graia now. They have the refusal to yield, which has 2 parts to the rule.
Yep.
And They auto pass all morale. Lovely.
That's always good.
And they have a 5-up feel no pain roll or roll to ignore mortal wounds only.
Yeah,
so
5-up feel no pain.
So what they used to have was the 6-up on any casualty when it died or ran or whatever the hell happened to it.
Yep.
You'd get the 6-up, which it's not particularly strong. A lot of armies have 6-up feel no pains. But what was strong about it is it didn't matter if it was casualty, didn't matter if it was mortal wound,
morale,
anything, they got that 6-up, which was awesome. So now the rule is ignore morale completely and have a 5-up, which is slightly better against only mortals.
Yeah.
But nothing in general. So it's quite a nerf to that.
Yeah, it's still really good. It's still really good, but it's not as stupid as it used to be.
It's not as powerful as it used to be.
I think it's really good.
I think it is good. The trouble is, it doesn't let me do anything super special. I just sort of bring it, and then some armies it will hinder. Other armies they're not planning to. If your plan is to morale or mortal wound me, either of those two strategies.
Yeah.
Like if you're not trying to make me run or cause me mortal wounds, this does nothing. And I can't write my opponent's force, so it suits me. I just have to, yeah. So maybe like. This might be competitive if there's other competitive. If like everyone's running Psychers and we know we're going to take mortal wounds, great.
Yeah.
So but general, I think this is probably one of the weakest forge rolls now.
Yep. Right.
The stratagem is good. It's any unit within 18 of enemy Psyker, 1 CP, and on a 4-up you deny the witch. Yeah. Yep. So you don't have to beat the roll or anything. It's just half chance of stopping a psychic power.
Yeah, and that is within all units, an 18-inch bowl and deny the witch, which is...
Of any 18 inches of any Grot year unit. So generally speaking, it's going to be super easy to get someone within 18 of their Psyker.
So yeah, if you're playing against, say, 1,000 Suns or anything with loads of Psychers...
I mean, it's a stratagem, so you can only do it once in the psychic phase.
Yeah, but still.
So again, generally speaking, it's really good for what it does. If you're trying to stop Psychers, it's really good. It's a 4-up of any unit. You can just pick anyone. And again, the Adeptus Mechanicus don't have many options in terms of psychic. You've got no Admech Psychers. You've got so therefore you don't have to deny the witch that comes with them. So a bit of deny the witch. If your home group have loads of psychic everywhere and you're like, damn it, why can't I have deny the witch? This faction's amazing because you get the 5-up mortal resistance and you get the 4-up deny the witch from this.
Yeah.
Again, my downside is that it's
situational, isn't it?
If I was playing this in a big league where there's loads of people there.
Cool.
Yeah. I'll silence that. So if you're playing in a big league where there's loads of people there, or you're playing in a tournament where you don't know who you're against, or a general play against all factions, you don't know if they're going to be psychic.
Yeah.
And it's probably not going to be psychic heavy for the sake of like 100-point character in a 2,000-point list.
Yeah. If your local meta is very psychic heavy, I think Grot is going to be a good choice. But
Grot is only good if you know there's a lot of psychic around.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing tons of use apart from that. An old relic.
Yep.
Is the cerebral techro meter, which is a second brain. The glorified additional brain.
Yeah. To be fair, I'd quite like another brain.
Yeah, I'd like an extra robo brain.
Oh no, just put it on the mantelpiece or something.
yeah, just leave it on the side. Like, you can just recite poetry to us. Or your war cries and see how it reacts.
Just read the damn thing.
Yeah, alright. So it's +3 to aura abilities and command abilities, like the Tech Priest abilities we're talking about. Pick a unit within 6 and they get the +2 or the +1 straight to weapons or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
So aura abilities and abilities coming out of your Tech Priest are +3 inches.
Yeah, so it's a very generic but very useful thing to have. I've used something similar on my Templars a few times and it's really good.
We spoke about one of the things you can do if you're really reliant on aura ability. Like if you're trying to build a castle where loads of people are shooting out of it, or you're trying to build a force that moves up as one into melee together, it's big. Yep. And you're just trying to get those re-rolls or whatever aura ability, get the most out of it. +3 inches can be huge, can be a big deal. Because bear in mind, it's also a radius, so you get both sides of the circle going out 3.
Yeah.
It can be functionally like 6 inches apart, but units can go further and things. So it can be useful. Yeah, possibly the best relic. Probably Or
the best Grot trait.
The best thing that Grot have been shown to have here.
Yes.
Grow all of those. Onto Styges.
Yep. So Styges or Styges 8, or as I'm told, just Styges.
Styges. I don't bother with the 8.
Honestly, I don't know how to pronounce half of these. What did you call it? Styges? Styges?
Styges, yeah.
We'll go with that. All right.
I mean, it's spelled with a Y like stylus, so I'd go for Styges.
That's the point. I didn't think about that. All right,
Or styles, or, you know.
All right, so the main faction traits is the Shroud Protocols. So vehicles 18 inches away from a target get -1 to hit, so dense cover. So that if you have anything that ignores cover or anything like that, that will affect this. But yeah, if you're getting shots at from 18 inches or more away, you get dense cover. All other units that are not core vehicles.
So to clear this up, well, go on, finish the rule.
All right, I'll finish that. So yeah, all other units that aren't core vehicles get the same thing, but 12 or more inches away.
Yeah. So to word it clearly, so you know what it does exactly, is for everything in your army except non-core vehicles. So weird and wacky vehicles, but they get further away. Everything else gets at 12. So if an enemy is not within 12, generally speaking, for core or infantry or anything else, like
anything that's not a vehicle, basically, you're going to
then
get
you get the -1 to be hit. And then if it is a vehicle that's not core, so your more specialist vehicles, your big specialist vehicles, then in that case it's 18 inches, so a bit further.
Yeah.
But so it's slightly weirdly worded, but generally speaking, just 12-inch -1 to hit.
Yep. So that's very nice. And
just
then
stay away from the enemy.
And then in a slightly different vein, when you charge enemies, they do not get defensible positions. So
never.
When we were talking about the whole 5-up Overwatch and +1 melee in defensible positions.
So they super hard counter. Was it Lucius? I forget which Forge Rod it is
now. Yes, yeah, it was Lucius. Yeah,
Forge Rod Lucius. If someone's playing Lucius, you can play these guys. Just hard counter them. They never get their bonus. Sucker! Yeah.
Right, their stratagem. For 1 CP, they get Clandestine Infiltration, which is exactly what it sounds like. You get the chance to infiltrate a core unit. I believe this also scales depending on the size.
I don't think it does actually, this one. I remember thinking, does this one scale? No, it doesn't.
Nice.
You pick a unit and you can infiltrate it, deploy it across the map somewhere that's with further than 9 from the enemy or their deployment.
What you said. Okay.
CP to do that is sometimes worth it if you want to like start on an objective over here.
Yes, it can be useful, or if you want to get a chunky unit up the front. Like I know.
And some of the things say, or some things that we'll get onto later, you don't want to have moved for, or a minus movement that we covered and things. So in the cases where you're taking things that make your movement worse, or you can't move, like if you're in a mobile army, then starting forwards is maybe an idea.
Yeah.
So it might have uses.
It could be useful. It's a bit of a split one, but
it's not great.
You know, it's an option. You don't have to do it.
We've seen better, and we will see better, but.
Right, now, one that I seem to remember quite liking, the Omniscience Hand. So, once per battle, you can roll... Oh no, this isn't the one I thought I liked. No, this one's okay. Once per battle, roll 1d6 for each enemy unit within 12 inches. On a 2 to 5, they take 1 mortal wound. On a 6, they take d3 mortal wounds. So, mortal wound bomb.
Yeah, so this basically has one good use. If the enemy has a big castle, you throw him into the middle of the castle and go... or explode. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's a big bomb.
Yeah, I don't quite know how this works.
I imagine just finger guns. Fewing everyone in a big circle. He just spins with finger guns. So, yeah, basically everyone... It's you can do nothing. You can do up to 3 mortal wounds, but generally speaking, it's just 1 mortal wound to everyone nearby.
Yeah, it's very okay. To be honest, it'll be good against character.
It can be amazing because you're dealing lots of mortal wounds, which is really strong. Unfortunately, it's against multiple targets. So the things that you really want to do mortal wounds to, like, say, Custodies or Marines, there won't be loads of targets. There'll be like a Custodian and a character. So you can do 2, which adds to separate targets, which is like, and then...
If you move into like a load of high wound, high toughness, high everything units, like say vehicles or characters, it can be good just to get extra wounds onto them. But
Yeah,
It's quite a big
so
blob.
really you need to go into a castle.
I mean, realistically, it's a 25-inch blob because you've got 12 inches either side plus the base.
It's a big area. You get a lot of stuff in it. It's a huge area, but obviously the trouble is you do one wound to it. So in most cases, you want to do loads of mortal wounds to do that durable thing, instead of like one mortal wound to everyone. And in a lot of armies, like you just kill a guardsman.
Yeah, I mean,
I could have done that with a las pistol.
Yeah, that's true. But you have the possibility of one banging some minor characters or Terminators. You can get rid of the Terminator.
Yeah, so it can be good. Generally speaking, it's limited by the fact that it's one mortal wound. It would be better if it was like few loads at him instead of doing one to everything. But it's still good. It's still a really strong relic. I think if I was playing this Forge World, for other reasons, I'd be tempted to take it. It's certainly not good enough to make me take the Forge World.
Yeah. Okay. Would you like to crack on with Riser?
I would definitely crack on with Verizon because I will be playing as Verizon.
Oh yeah, this is your
This is going to be the Forge World that I most likely play as. We obviously are lacking a lot of rules for people, but
this is the Crumpin Forge World.
This will be me.
Go on then.
So we have the Red Incog and Claw rule, which isn't the best name for a rule, but it's at least my favourite and almost definitely one of the best rules for any Forge World.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are like, oh, it's bad because it's melee, but
if you build your Admech around melee, you can have quite a...
Admech can melee, put it that way, right? So the rule is, when you get charged or heroically intervene, so almost always first round of combat, then you get +1 to wound.
Okay.
And I'm going to point out that this can combo really nicely with multiple things for them. For example, you know, any it combos really well with the various sources that you can get rerolls. Rerolls to hit or wound in combat. So you know, you obviously can't stack pluses to hit, but it's very difficult to get pluses to wound anyway. So you can get rerolls to wound with the +1. And for example, you've got really easy access to Vanguard have -1 toughness on the enemy. So if you put Vanguard into melee with the enemy, then the Vanguard themselves, or someone else who goes into melee with them, for instance, a Tech Priest leading them can also go in. The enemy's then -1 toughness. So if you put them into Space Marines, they're now toughness 3. And you know, you can get nice weapons on the Tech Priest I was talking about.
Yeah.
If he doesn't need to be very strong now. If the Tech Priest is making attacks at strength 4, which is
he's going to be wounding Space Marines on 3s.
Well, no, the Space Marines, if you put the minus toughness on them, are toughness 3, meaning the force will wound on 3s normally. But because you're Riser, wounds on 2s.
Yeah.
Your General Skitarii will only be strength 3.
Okay.
So your General Rangers just booping them with your Vanguard booping them with a gun butt will be wounding on 3s. If you can get a bit of a strength boost at all, then they'll be wounding on 2s.
I hate this.
Like strength 4 wounding on 2s against Space Marines is a...
Well, I need to change army.
Yeah, just like put a maul on your Alpha from the Vanguard unit, and
suddenly you're wounding Marines on 2s.
Wounding on Marines on 2s. And if you can get to strength 5, then you're wounding Gravis on 2s.
Yeah.
You can wound Gravis on 2s with a strength 5 weapon. Yes. So immediately, like, this is what I see.
This is Ben just wants to smash me even more.
So
that sounds a bit.
I'm not going to deny it.
Well, yeah, right, fine.
There we go. So obviously, I think there's going to be lots of other synergies as we see the rules for other melee units. Like we haven't seen the infiltrators or the rust walkers yet. I'm sure
there's probably going to be other stratagems.
Funky thing with this.
Yeah, there's probably lots.
I think the Sulphur Hounds and the other Cerberus guys they're quite good right now, and they've got a bit of a melee capability. So obviously, when you put those in, a bit of extra wounding is going to be nice.
Yep.
So yeah, just that's why I love this one. And I'm going to be playing this one. It's it's the melee army basically. If you're going melee, go Riser.
Yeah, and they also get
and +1 to charge.
Yeah,
across your army.
It's not a massive buff, but it's a good buff.
I find it to be a really big deal because if you Deep Strike at 9, you don't make it Basically, on average, you don't make it.
Yeah.
Coming down to 8, you're still not going to make it on average, but you're a lot closer. Like, you're coming down in those dice combination things, and you're getting more likely. So, and then if you're willing to like reroll, then you will on average sort of make it.
Yeah. Okay. All right, I can see that.
So +1 in charge is a big deal. And obviously with an army that wants to be melee constantly.
Yeah.
Especially if like there's somewhere to get reroll charges and things or ability handed out. We haven't seen a lot of these tech priest abilities that they can give. I'm expecting some other melee options somewhere.
Yep.
Or warlord traits or stratagems just around the place, so that in combination +1 charge makes a big deal.
Yeah, it will stack up.
So that's either one. Right. The next one we have is plasma specialists for 2 CP.
Yep.
When you're firing plasma weapons on a unit, those plasma weapons are +1 damage to their normal.
Yeah.
Meaning you overcharge some plasmas and they're 3 damage piece.
That's nice. It's very nice.
It
to be
is.
honest.
Plain and simple.
Whack that on cataphrons.
The cataphrons, we keep talking about them. You can take plasma cataphrons, extra damage, overcharge.
I don't think there's actually been a Forge World that cataphrons haven't benefited from.
Cataphrons
Maybe Lucius, but even then Lucius did quite well.
You used to see cataphrons for a specific stratagem you could run with them a little bit, but they weren't really used in a wide variety. Now I think cataphrons have so much capability just to be used wherever you want them.
Yeah.
But so yeah, and not just with the plasma, but in this case, plasma, and even on Vanguard or Rangers, either of those you can put up to 3 plasma cavaliers in the squad, and I think there are either 2 or 3 shots normally.
Okay, so you're getting like
a weird hunch. They're 3 shots anyway, but
so 3 shots. So you're getting 9 times 3
9
damage
damage.
potential.
Yeah. That's a lot.
Okay.
So yeah, putting the damage up means you'll chew through vehicles, or in some specific cases, for instance, if you're shooting a Death Guard because they do -1 to the damage, putting 1 on means you're still 2, so you still kill the Death Guard.
Yeah.
Or if you're firing a Space Marine Dreadnought, has the same ability.
Yeah.
You're still doing 2 damage per thing instead of just 1.
You'll be able to one-bang Terminators and because Terminators have
3 wound infantry.
And
I expect
aggressors.
knobs are going to become 3 wound infantry. Mega knobs already are.
Yeah.
It's going to be really useful.
It can make the difference between taking out heavy infantry and taking out super heavy infantry.
2 CP is expensive.
Yeah.
I'll put that.
It's expensive, but it has the potential to be a very high yield shoot round.
And as I said, you will probably be running a melee army with Rosa. That's the trouble.
Yeah.
However,
I reckon if you took your heavy weapons as close support weapons, that could work very well.
You bring some troops. They're going to be Catphron or Vanguard, right?
Mm-hmm.
Probably, maybe Rangers, even Rangers. You can bring some of them, and all of those have access to plasma.
Yeah.
Right. So
you might as well put it on.
Yeah, happy days. There will be use for these plasma specialists in all of those options, even in a melee army.
Yeah.
Finally, our relic is it's called just the weapon XCIX, which I'm not going
very
Roman numeral that is.
Very catchy. Oh, I didn't even think about that.
I assumed it was
to be honest.
Yeah.
That would make
But
sense.
again,
Anyway, it's called weapon
99,
XCIX.
right?
Yeah.
XCIX.
Yeah.
99.
Yeah.
Weapon 99. All right.
Very inventive thing. Right. What is
so it's a heavy 3, strength 7, AP -2, 2 damage weapon.
Bulk.
Yeah. And if you roll a 6 to wound, it does 2 mortal wounds immediately.
Mm-hmm. How many shots did you say it was?
Heavy 3.
So you have the potential, we are probably not going to do it, but you have the potential to do 6 mortal wounds plus any extra damage.
Yeah, I mean, you've got the potential to take it out of us. It's not going to happen.
Probably not. Stranger things have happened. Stranger things have happened.
It's a very nice weapon. And if you're desperate for mortal wounds, it gives you reasonable access to them. Because you can just fish for those 6s. Maybe you can get reroll to wounds somewhere.
Yeah, having reroll to wounds, maybe. I'm not sure about
Bear in
fishing
mind,
because it's only 3 shots.
You get canticles on things, and from there you've definitely from the first canticle get access to reroll a wound.
That's true.
So you can the one mission you can go for 6. Maybe there's other places that let you reroll for try and get more 6s.
Yeah. So again, this could be quite a nice extra heavy weapon buff.
It's not a massive deal. It won't change your whole army, but it's a nice
nice thing to have.
It's a good bit of firepower at that tech priest.
Yeah.
Strength 7 is as long as it's not a heavy vehicle, I'm really happy to fire this. Or even a Space Marine killer. This is a great Space Marine killer.
Yeah.
It's just 2 damage and might do extra 2 mortal wounds.
Yeah.
So you might mortal wound a Space Marine to death and then kill another 2.
Yeah.
With just the characters.
As a Marine player, that scares me.
It's yeah, for one small tech priest's gun.
Yeah.
Shame it's not a melee weapon. Where's that red axe though? Right, this is what I'm saying. We wanted a melee weapon, unfortunately, for this.
Yeah, I know, but they couldn't make it too powerful, did
they? They couldn't, but
well, they could.
I'm sure there'll be some generic melee weapons that can be taken by Admech.
Yeah.
So if you want, if you want a melee weapon relic, I'm sure you'll still have access to one.
But, right, moving on to the last known Forge world, we are moving on to Metallica.
And I want to point out that we shouldn't forget that Metallica have access to the stuff in the Warzone Caradon book.
Yes,
or Charadon book.
Yeah, I think it's Charadon.
I think it's Charadon because they deliberately spelled it different to Caradon.
Yeah.
So they want
They have a habit of naming things very similarly but slightly differently.
Yeah. Well, it is what it is. That's fine.
So Metallica have I think this is probably my favourite Forge world. So they have the Relentless March, which means that when you advance and fire with assault weapons, you don't get any anti-buffs. What are they called?
You don't get the -1 to hit.
You don't get the -1
basically.
To hit, yeah. You can move and fire heavy weapons without the -1 penalty. That's what it's called, a penalty.
Yeah.
There we go. English. And
so you're just good at moving and shooting.
Yep.
Crossboard.
And when an enemy unit is in combat with you, it counts as half strength for purposes of morale. So it runs.
So on attrition tests, after they've failed their morale, then they're going to flee on 1s and 2s, even if you
yeah,
even if they only lost 1 or 2 and barely failed their morale, kind of thing.
Yeah. So they are pretty. I don't have anything bad to say about any of that.
I'm going to be honest. That the whole morale thing isn't a big deal.
It's not a big deal, but the other two.
It's.
I really like
the other two. Yeah. Being able to, the ability to just run in there, constantly firing. Like I said, you want to be able to advance for objectives. This game is all about objectives now.
Yeah.
A lot of people see, where can I get damage out? I see, where can I get objectives? Because
where can you get the mobility?
Killing things 9 out of 10 times won't give you victory points. Taking an objective 9 out of 10 times will give you victory points.
Unless you take it to, say, Slay the Warlord or whatever the
primary
incantation is.
Well, primary, the points now come from primary. So
yeah, but the other half come from secondaries.
Yeah, but you can take objective based secondaries.
Fair. I'll concede that point.
Anyway, my point is basically it's just an army that's going to be really good at moving around the board.
It's going to be really. I can see it being really good at taking objectives because you move up with whatever, shoot whatever. Yeah, it's just good.
Get right in their face when you otherwise couldn't. Fire on
objectives. Right, they have a stratagem. That's what they're called. Deafening Assault for 1 CP. You choose 1 unit to shoot, and then you choose an enemy unit within 12 inches, and you can half their movement, as in the enemy unit, so you can half their movement, or you can stop them from having defensible positions. It's okay.
So to think about this, when you're using it, you're basically going to base the decision of which of these things you do, depending on your plan. I think that the real uses of the 2 ways are save this for your last unit, see how your other shooting's done, and then if you realise I'm not going to be able to kill this unit of assaults, let's say, or this unit of boys, or this unit of something, then you just sort of pop a shot into them with this.
Yeah, you're probably not going to kill them, but you'll stop them from getting into grips with any of your units, or
it's not about
getting on an objective.
It's not about killing them. It's if on average movement's about 6, so they're at 12. They have to be at 12, I think, for this one. So you put the shot into them, then movement's now 3. Meaning after they move, they're at 9. On average, they fail their charge.
Yeah.
Which otherwise, like I said earlier, it was a difference of 3. So otherwise, it would have been 6, they make their charge. So this is going to save you. Or the other option is if the other ability with this, they also can't set up defensive positions.
So if you want to then hit them with an assault, you're not going to get overwatched or twatted.
Or hit harder.
That's the correct term.
Or they won't get +1. Basically it depends on if you either use it before you're about to charge someone, or something that you want to stay away.
Yeah, it's quite situational, but it's nice for 1 CP. I can see myself using that if I was
very handy. Or briefly also mention, if there's something that the enemy you predict they're going to need to move a large distance, even if they're not charging you. For instance, they're trying to get engaged on all fronts,
or scramblers or something like that.
Yeah, so something that they're trying to run up the board, even something with really big movement, you hit it and then it's reduced right.
Yeah, that could be very nice. Right, moving on to their relic. They have, this is the one I thought I was talking about earlier, but wasn't. This is the adamantine arm. So it's an extra weapon, so you're not replacing anything with this. You're just giving them an extra like servo arm, which is nice.
I like a good servo arm.
So you only get one attack with this, but it is a strength times 3.
Or you're allowed to make one of your attacks with this. I should say it doesn't give you an extra attack.
Yeah, okay.
You're allowed to make only one of your, and then you make the rest of your attacks with your other weapons.
Yes.
It's
So
yeah.
So you get strength times 3, AP minus 3, damage 4, and +1 to hit. I like this.
So it's quite a hit, isn't it? It's a real.
What to really smack something.
I imagine this really massive, beefy servo arm just like hitched on someone's back, but just like a massive power fisty type thing that just swings once.
You've just got like Arnold Schwarzenegger's arm on your back. It's
This massive, huge punching servo arm.
Yeah.
And it's 4 damage. So sure, you're only making one attack, but you're more likely to hit.
Yep.
Because it's +1. So generally speaking, if you're a tech priest or something, you're probably on 3s. So it's now 2s. 2 up to hit. It's times 3. So if you're a tech priest, it's probably strength 4.
So strength 12,
I believe. Even if you're only a strength 3 character, then you're now strength 9.
Yeah. You're going to be rolling at most at 3.
If it's infantry, you're winning on 2s, regardless.
Yeah. AP minus 3, that's going to be almost completely annihilating Space Marines at that point.
AP minus 3 is nice. It's asking for above 3 is quite an ask at that point. You've got to be melted really or better.
Yeah.
So 3 is good, and then 4 damage. So
yeah, it's just good.
You could, and the characters are also 4 wounds.
Admittedly, you only get one attack with it, but you're not replacing any of your weapons. You're not. It's just an additional thing.
It's only the one attack, so you're not gonna. It's not gonna be like a real super melee threat alone as a unit. But when you go into someone, it could be really useful utility.
Yeah, if say you're trying to kill a character and you charge them with this guy, you can get most of your normal attacks plus this thing. You're probably going to be doing the damage.
4 wounds on a character will either kill them or beat all the life out of them.
Yeah.
Like a lot of support characters, for instance, Guard or Sisters or Pain Boy or something, 4 wounds. You could maybe attack something else and then put this into them and 1 hit. Yeah, maybe. And then, or if you're attacking a vehicle or something, this doesn't take all your attacks. Maybe you're on something else as well to use in the rest of the attacks, and you can do something on top of the 4. So
yeah,
it'll probably have some use.
Yeah,
it's not amazing, but it has some use.
I would take it if I was running. If I played Admech and running Mechanicus.
Yeah, again, one of the ones that you won't like. It won't be much of a occasion to take the army, but if you're already thinking of taking the faction, it's probably worth grabbing this relic.
Yes. Right, that is all of the named Forge Worlds. Would you like to do the custom Forge World and explain how it works?
Yeah, so if you're building a Forge World, then there are 4, I believe, 4 primary doctrines or dogmas. Sorry.
Yeah, you know what we mean.
4 primary rules that you can, and themes, because these are going to be themes for your army to take really, play styles.
Yes.
That you're going to use. So there's going to be 4 play styles, and then from those, you can then pick. There's 3 secondary for each one that you then use to refine that playstyle and choose exactly how you want to do it.
Yeah.
So we have one example of a primary and a secondary. So there's most of the rules for this. Almost all of them are hidden.
Yeah. So we'll have to wait until the end of that codex.
But we'll give you our example, which is magma bonded alloys, and that's a.
If I've written Vic.
Oh yeah, of course.
Sorry.
No worries. So it's on all your vehicles. You get a 6+ feel no pain, basically. So whenever you lose a wound after your saves and everything, on 6 up, you don't lose them.
Yep.
It's nice. It's very good. If you're fielding
lots of vehicles,
then
it's just good.
I don't think I've seen loads else that works for vehicles. Anywhere.
Not really. I suppose Admech would be the faction to take it. That or maybe Guards.
Yeah, so if you're running if you're running minimal infantry and you're just trying to power as many vehicles as you can, like a load of mixed vehicles, like a tank brigade for Admech, or with Scorpiuses or Dune Crawlers or whatever, then that's a really nice option. Because obviously on vehicles as well, feel no pains become more valuable because it's harder to inflict those wounds in the first place.
Yeah.
It's one of the reasons I really like this rule from one of the Night Houses. Because
yeah.
you've already put so much effort into wound a toughness 8 vehicle or a toughness 7 vehicle or whatever, and then deal through its 3-up save. Then, you know, taking the wound off is a bigger deal than just taking the wound off of a guardsman you've killed.
Yeah.
Or you know,
or just bring back
something.
like a Skitari or something.
Yeah. It's not like you're just saving Skitari's life. You're saving wounds on a difficult wound to kill.
Yes.
And then our example for the secondary one, that we'll refine the playstyle, is at the start of the command phase, all your vehicles regain 1 wound.
Oh, yep.
And it's 2-parter. And they all your vehicles count as having double the amount of wounds they do for the purposes of their bracket.
Yeah.
Which wound bracket they're in.
Yep. So it's really good for just keeping them, keeping them alive by getting more
So
wounds.
this whole thing is vehicle focused, all about keeping them alive if you went down this secondary route. They're already going to stay alive because the primary one maybe, or better.
Yeah.
So you might then, there's probably going to be maybe one that makes the vehicles do more damage, or lets vehicles move further, or lets vehicles do
more shooting or
something.
Yeah.
Ram the enemies, or whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe it isn't me, but even my vehicles have to fight.
Yeah. Well, you're an old player.
Yeah. So custom forge worlds. There's unfortunately not a lot to say until we see the rules.
Yeah.
This specific example gives you a lovely vehicle option.
I was going to say that is quite nice if you're taking a vehicle army, but I suspect you'll be able to pretty much design what you like with them. A bit like with, custom regiments or custom chapters. You're going to be able to personalise it a lot.
Absolutely.
Right, I think that's all of the...
So that's all of our sub-factions.
Thank you. So we are going to be moving on to the Crusade rules now. So there's a very interesting way of getting Crusade relics. The Admech. It's very nice.
Beyond even a Crusade relic, it's really something else entirely they're adding. It's like a story relic.
Yeah, they call them Archaeotech treasures. And effectively, what you have to do to get them is in some way during a game, you have to obtain one of 4 parts. So these are a power source, a weapon part, a force field part, and a techno-arcana part. Now,
the nature of these is you need to acquire
a power source and then something else to get that kind of relic.
Yeah. So you always need to go for the first type of part, which is a power source, and then you need to get a second bit to combine with it from any of the other categories.
Yes.
And then you get your relic.
So I'll just quickly go over that. The weapon part is obviously to build a weapon. The force field part is to give you a defensive relic. And the techno-arcana part is going to be, I guess, everything else.
Utility?
Utility, I guess, is the nicest way of saying that. Right, they gave us a couple of ways of getting these parts. So the first way...
I'm sure there'll be quite a few, actually, but this is...
There will be, but they've given us 2 in the article. I can't remember the name of the article, but there we go. In fact, would you like to do the first one?
Yeah, so our first one's an agenda.
Yeah.
And I think this is a really fun agenda to take. If I end up running my guys in a Crusade campaign, I will often go for this one. Yeah. And you pick an enemy vehicle, which is the highest power vehicle they have. So again, it uses power rating, but you might be using power rating anyway if you're playing in Crusade setting. So, and then you basically just have to hunt down that vehicle.
Yep.
Like I said, if they're drawn, then you can choose, but otherwise it's got to be the strongest. And whoever kills that gets 3 experience, which is really nice. Because it's often quite hard to get 3 experience from
anything really.
Agenda.
Yeah.
There's obviously the standard ones like Assassinate and Bring It Down, which get you loads. But then apart from that, you're across the agendas, you're often putting in loads of work, and then it's difficult to get much at all. So 3 for killing a vehicle.
Yeah.
It's pretty solid.
That's nice.
Especially in some armies that only have like 1 or 2 vehicles, or they're transports and it's not a big deal or something, so you just go for it, public transport.
Yeah.
3 XP. That alone is beautiful.
Yeah.
But then the clincher is once you pop the vehicle, you put a marker where it died, and then you have to go and perform an action with an infantry unit on the position it died to pick up and loot the technology from the vehicle.
Yes.
Which the action, as always, you start at the movement phase, and then it ends in the next command phase. So the downside is that the opponent can come and boot you off of it. If they come and kill the unit, then you fail.
Yeah.
which is a bit of a shame, but that's often the case with actions. So what we've got to do is get there, go and actually collect the relic that you've taken out of their enemy vehicle.
Yeah.
So it's a really good story-based thing.
Yes, I think this would work if you're one of those cool people that when a vehicle dies, you leave the vehicle on there and put like a fire marker on it.
Yeah, like old stick-fed rules or whatever, where you left vehicles.
Was it 7th?
Was it 7th?
Yeah, I know.
Okay, damn.
I think we should bring that back.
Making me feel old.
I personally think we should start doing that in 8th. I mean, 9th. What edition are we in? 9th.
I mean, obviously,
really like
making your vehicles terrain could be power gained quite easily.
It can
sort of block off the enemy. Like here's a wall made out of tanks that have just been destroyed or whatever.
It's just so much cooler though. So much cooler.
It is. It's very cool. It's very fun.
Yeah. Anyway, we digress.
We do. Let's keep going. Otherwise, we'll never get through.
I was going to say we've already taken up an hour and a quarter of your time, so yeah, that's so unexpected.
Well, there's loads of rules in there, so we're basically doing full codex.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway,
so the second one, we've covered that one. Yep. The second one is the unorthodox acquisition, which is.
Oh yes, sorry, yeah, of course.
Yeah. So this is going to be after a battle, I think. So
yeah,
for either 3 or 5 requisition points, which we'll talk about now. You can either, for 3 requisition points, randomly choose or randomly select one of the
types of
parts. So roll a d6 or a d4 or whatever you fancy, I suppose. Just do it randomly. And then for 5 rep points, you can choose one.
So, yeah. If you're not clear on how requisition points work as a system, it's a huge part of Crusade. After each game, you get 1 requisition point, and generally speaking, you spend these on a whole bunch of things, including removing battle scars from your characters. In expanding your Crusade roster so you can put more units in your army, changing units in your army, whether that be giving them relics, war traits, and stratagems, and bits and bobs, or changing their war gear or their psychic powers or whatever. So these are a big deal. And the victory condition for a lot of game modes is an extra requisition point. So you basically want as many requisition points as you can get. And in this case, you're allowed to spend 3 or 5 of them to get those architect parts.
So it's quite expensive.
They're deliberately very difficult to get hold of. That's clearly
that is kind of
the idea. You have, for the objective, you have to not only destroy their biggest and most powerful vehicle, you have to then go and perform an action on it.
Yeah,
I mean, you have to do it fairly early, move over, or do it in melee, and then perform the action on it and keep it alive. While it's a very difficult
at least 3 turns.
It's not an easy thing to pull off in a game. So it's deliberately hard to get and expensive in terms of requisition points.
Yeah. Although I suppose that could be a nice way of using, say, deep strike units. Take out a vehicle with ranged weapons and then go and deep strike.
Or if you shoot their vehicle, then you can bring in your deep strikers to collect the part.
Well, that is what.
Oh, sorry.
That is literally what I was saying.
I thought you meant to send in the deep strike unit to destroy the vehicle behind.
No. To go in and collect.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so we have one example, which is the weapon type. So one example of a built architect weapon, which is the digital cannon, and it's a Jacaro finger implant. Jacaro digital weapon, and it's a cannon.
Yeah.
So it's 24-inch, assault 2, strength 6, -1, d3 damage, single use. So at some point you just finger guns people.
Yeah.
I love it. Brilliant. I love Jacaro finger gun weapons.
Yeah.
It's the ring which is secretly a cannon. Pew!
Which is secret.
Oh, they are the miracles of the Jacaro.
I love
we love our monkeys.
Yeah.
Anyway. So we've also got a bunch of other Crusade things, including special new battle traits.
Yes, so the battle traits are going to be things that go on individual units. So each unit, by the looks of things, each unit will have their own specific battle traits.
Yeah, so normally when a unit levels up, and you get that after a certain amount of experience, and the experience required keeps going up as you get higher and higher level. And basically, when it levels up, you get to pick a battle trait. And there's a lot of different categories they come into. By the looks of things, possibly for each unit. I think more realistically for each HQ.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah, I don't know if there'll be every single unit its own table now, but at least, for example, for some HQs and things, we're going to get tables of battle traits. That you can use to get a new thing that suits that.
So the example they gave us in the article was the Skitari Marshal. Skitari I Marshal, I don't know how you pronounce that in Latin. But you get 3 traits that you get to choose from or select randomly, I think it is. Yeah. So
I like to select randomly in our campaigns, but some people pick
yeah,
them.
yeah, it's up to you. Really doesn't matter. So you have the integrated refraction emitters, which is just a 4-up invuln. You have the battlefield, yeah, battlefield processing cortex. So core units within 9 inches or with data tether are able to perform heroic interventions, which could be very nice with what is it, Riser?
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically,
Because we get our +1 to wound when you heroically intervene. So.
yeah. So basically, more melee buffs. And then the last one is the Secutor class of blade implants. So when you charge with this bloke, you roll a dice on a 3 to 5, you deal 1 mortal wound to the unit you're charging, and then on a 6, you deal D3 mortal wounds to the unit you're charging.
It's not the biggest deal, but at the end of the day,
it's not
reliably doing a mortal wound.
Yeah, and there's the potential
every time
D3.
It's every time you charge.
If you can hit a character with it, it's gonna hurt them a little bit at least. Less good against like orc units or anything because you're killing 3 orcs at most.
Yeah, it's obviously a bigger deal. The bigger target you can hit with it.
Yeah.
As always with mortal wounds.
Yep.
And if you keep charging as much as you can, like across games, you'll definitely get a few 6s.
Yeah.
Across the course of your campaign, if you keep using this guy and throwing him into things, a few 6s will come out.
It will probably pay off.
Yeah, over time, it's quite a nice one. Mortal wounds are hard to put out, generally speaking.
Yeah.
And they can just win you games.
Yes.
If across your army you find a way to deal enough mortal wounds, then Custodes armies and Elite Space Marine armies and things suffer.
Yeah.
They really suffer because they're built around durability.
Yes. Right. So we've got 2 more things to cover. I'll do this one and then you do the next one.
Sure.
Okay, so the next one is a relic, Crusade relic. So it is the Auto Caduceus.
We love pronunciation.
It's just
we live to try and pronounce weird words GW throw us.
The Auto Caduceus. I reckon it's the Auto Caduceus or something like that.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah, we'll go with that. Of Arkan Land, our favourite tech priest. Still hate the Land Raider. Arkan's Land Raider. Anyway, I'll get very angry in a minute.
Mr. Land made this.
Yeah.
I think Mr. Land discovered the SPC for the land.
I think it was Yogscast did a skit on this, and it was like, yeah, the Emperor's actually called Jimmy Space, and his Space Marines, something like that.
Yeah, Space Marines are named after him too.
Right, so
Land Raiders being named after Mr. Land.
It's just, but anyway,
whatever. Yeah.
So within 6 inches of the bloke holding this or bloquette, when a unit is destroyed on a 3-up, they can return with 6 wounds. They're not destroyed; they just pop back up with 6 wounds.
I reckon that is a whopper of a Crusade relic.
Oh, it's horrible.
You can use it on like another character. If a tech priest goes down, you can just be like stabbing the staff, back, they're kicking. Or a Castellan robot goes down nearby.
Yeah,
stab it in, he's back up.
Yeah,
4 wounds.
Monitor goes down, it's like, and you're back.
Half wounds on the manager, back. Just on the 3-up.
So strong.
The 3-up is kind of upsetting because it's unreliable. A third of the time, you'll be like, it's fine, I'll get him up.
And then it doesn't. Yeah, but command point rerolls.
That's why we have command point rerolls.
Most of the time, you're going to be getting that unit back with 6 wounds.
Yeah.
And then we have.
So basically, like
it's
1 in
good.
9 or whatever, you're going to fail to get him up with a command reroll. So it's
Yep.
still decent.
So, yeah.
And I think the fact that it always revives on a flat 6 wounds,
Oh, it's horrible.
it's a big deal. Like, I remember the Imperial Knights had a certain house had a method of getting a knight back up, which I loved and regularly used because someone's like, yeah, I got the knight. And I'm like, no, you didn't. He's still here. Yeah, then another strat to make him top bracket and he just stomps again for a turn or something. Like, yeah, this will combo really nicely with those things that count as double wounds or whatever because you get them back up and then
they're on a full bracket.
they count as double, so they're on full health as far as.
Yeah.
So it's a nice combo.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just flat 6 wounds. But even the Knights only came back on like 3 wounds, so it was only on 1 sometimes or whatever.
Yeah.
This is like full health Castellan or.
What we're trying to say is it is strong.
Big deal.
Yeah. All right. The very last thing we have to talk about, it's probably going to be quite quick, is the weapon enhancements. So I'm assuming that you'll have more options than just this, but the one they spoiled are the plasma weapons. So the traits that you can have for that, you can have vent shielding, which some of you might have guessed, you do not explode if you roll a 1.
Yeah.
Which is always nice. I've lost many models to just rolling 1s on plasma weapons. This is just nice.
Absolutely.
Yep. And then they also have what in some ways is probably even nicer, the fully charged trait, which is whilst a unit is stationary and the target is within 12 inches, you get an extra plasma shot.
The difficult bit to pull off is sitting still and shooting at close range.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to be honest with you, most of the time I shoot at close range, I move up into close range and shoot.
You could, however. You've got a load of things that have like teleportarium and things. You could just deep strike something into close range.
I don't think
they do.
I think most of the time deep striking things count as own moves.
We'll have to check that one out, but you might be able to do that, or it might not work.
Yeah, certain cases, whatever.
If you're holding something and an enemy accidentally gets within 12 inches,
the big way of doing it is going to be screen something.
Yes.
So if I have 2 squads of Scutari or whatever,
you'll have the cheap one in the front, the plasma one at the back,
or even nearby. Something takes a charge, gets hit, I fall it back, and then my other unit, which was nearby, doesn't have to.
It just melts the charging unit with plasma.
Just gives them a good old plasma.
So that one.
Both of those plasma things are really good. No one likes losing models to their ones, so
yes, that was
good.
That would combo very well with Riser.
Not actually that big a deal because I think you can find reroll ones in places play. You can get reroll ones anyway, so it's not that huge deal. I'd rather the extra shot, but then again, it's so hard to pull off.
Yeah.
Not moving at all, staying still and being in half range.
But if you're going to play Riser, just for you, you're going to get the +1 damage with plasma, and you're going to be quite close range anyway. And if you're holding an objective, you've got to stay on it.
You're right. That will combo for me with Riser and other armies that can the +3 to the shooting. Actually, you ever had that? That means then you up to 15, you don't have to move at all. Oh no, actually, it would affect the weapons range. It wouldn't affect this rule.
Yeah, this isn't not within rapid fire range. This is specifically within 12.
Specifically within 12. So it wouldn't affect this. Oh, it affects plasma cats.
It's just plasma weapons.
Plasma weapons, yeah.
Things like cataphrons. It's gonna...
Yeah, because honestly, I was still thinking about culverins and things.
Yeah, this is very nice.
I'm really looking forward to seeing the radiant weapon upgrade table and the galvanic and the
not Gorse, the arc.
Arc weapons upgrades. Yeah, that'd be real nice if I put it on an arc unit. Do you reckon there's an Arquebus upgrade table for your sniper weapon? I just take a sniper team.
Yeah. 3
of those firing off with the horrible upgrades. Like, even 2 of those.
Plus like 3 damage Arquebuses.
They don't really need it. They suffer from the one-shot thing, but apart from that, they're solid.
Yeah.
Do you have a favourite forward roll?
Not just because of the name.
I'm fine with the name. Yeah. Just if we could put Metallicron as a background, we would do it.
I don't even need to ask if you have a favourite.
Yeah, obviously. I'll be running Riser, so
yeah. Well, I think that's pretty much all we've got to talk about today.
Yeah, it's good. We've obviously seen quite a few really nice combos and synergies between things, and I think we're going to have loads and loads more because a lot of things just haven't been revealed. All we've had like full reveals on, so to speak, is the Forge Worlds, with 1 or 2 exceptions. We've basically seen everything for the Forge Worlds.
Well,
but we haven't seen all the tech pre-special stuff. We haven't seen all of the canticles. We haven't seen all the new imperatives. I think they're called. The other special rule
dogmas and whatnot.
For your. It's not quite a dogma, but you know,
I know what you mean. I think it is the imperatives.
The mixture of your Scutari and elite infantry to get it.
Yeah.
And elite option. Yeah. So imperatives. Once we see those, I'm sure we'll have loads more funky options. But immediately, even without seeing those, almost every single Forge World seems usable and great.
Yeah, there are a couple that are quite situational, but most of them are just good.
I'm sure there'll be competitive options with most of these.
Yeah.
Which is really nice to see because we want the game to be competitively balanced and nice.
Yes, it's a very, as we've said,
I'm not immediately seeing loads which is totally broken or unfair. I'm not spotting a combo that's just this will wreck the whole game.
There's a lot that's strong, but there isn't a lot that will just obliterate everything. And that might change with the codex, but
all the really strong things are quite situational. Where like, you can get this really good combo that pulls off for a turn if you do it right.
Yeah. So you can delete things, but you can't keep deleting things.
Yeah, it's not something as simple as like the old Leviathan Dreadnought or other models that you just put down and it just wins the game.
Yeah.
Which is boring and
It's like,
it's the old
Lenny
Castellan.
Dread, good game, well done.
Yeah, like
Nice.
you own Castellan robots. Congrats. Like,
Oh, dear.
so there we go.
Yeah.
There's now a comment section because we're going to be on YouTube.
Yes.
Whoa.
If you can see our faces, we're on YouTube.
Community interaction, yeah. If you're still watching on Spotify or other places where you can listen to us, then of course you can get in touch with us other ways, like our Discord or whatever.
Yep.
But now there's a convenient comment section. It's even easier to give us
contact
your opinions, your views.
And abuse us online.
Yeah.
Please don't. Give us constructive feedback.
No. It's all good. It's all fun.
Yeah,
I'm really
it's all
looking forward to
fun
seeing
games.
what people do with this.
Yep.
So yeah, let us know what you think. Is there anything we've missed as well?
Yeah.
Is there maybe a combo that's screaming at you like, oh, you've not thought about this Forge World much. You've written this off as bad, and actually you can do this thing, and it would be really great.
Yeah. I mean, we are only human. We do miss things. So yeah, if we've missed something, as he says,
Or if we've just
Let us
gotten
know.
something wrong, but hopefully
Yeah.
that's less likely.
if you have another interpretation of a rule or something that's not written
Yeah.
very well, or we haven't described it very well, let us know.
Wicked stuff. So cool.
Yeah. So
That's all from us today at Grot and Guardsman.
yeah, we hope you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed our first edition of our faces being on the internet.
Yeah.
We're sorry for the disappointment, but
Don't think you expected. Yeah.
yeah.
Maybe we should just start cosplaying for all our videos.
I mean, I'm not going to lie, that would be kind of cool.
I'd be well up for it if I had the time and effort. On top of making a podcast.
I suppose it'd be easier for me. I'd just put the military out.
Send us your cosplays. Show us what you've been working on.
Yes.
Yeah, as always.
So we've been Grot and Guardsman, and thank you very much for watching / listening.
Thank you very much. And goodbye.